Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Hazelbarrel Craftworks, here in the Hazelbarrel Homestead and our humble whiskey room. I'm the Alchemist. Happy Thanksgiving week, y'all. We made it to Monday of Thanksgiving week, and we had 3 weeks of, well, what the Alchemist is thankful for. And, we did a rundown. Week 1, mighty thankful for my beautiful bride. Week 2, thankful for the whiskey community, because without y'all, whiskey just ain't the same. And last week, thankful for the distilleries. Without the distilleries, we wouldn't have this wonderful spirit that we all enjoy. And one distillery in particular, W.H. McBriar Legacy Spirits. And that was mainly due to Bill McBriar, the owner of the distillery, and just how much of a gentleman he is. Well, in our final week of thanks, the week of Thanksgiving, here on Monday, as I pondered what I'm thankful for, it was actually quite an easy decision. I just wondered when was the right time to do it, and well, I think this week of Thanksgiving is the time to do it. And what I'm thankful for is, well, my mom. I don't know if any of y'all out there, have a mom who's like mine, who really is, she's my hero. She raised 6 kids, 5 boys and 1 girl, and she did it with love. She did it with care. And she taught me, she taught me how to always look to the big guy upstairs when I needed help, and he can help me through anything. And she was a fortress for me. She taught me many things. She helped me with my anxiety to keep me calm, because she was a lady of anxiety herself, but you'd never known it. She was a tremendously strong and kind and giving woman. So then I had to ponder, what's the best whiskey to have to say thank you properly to my mom? And I don't remember a whole lot about my childhood, really. Other than the things, of course, that my mom instilled in me and how she guided me. But as I'm on my whiskey journey, and when I started my whiskey journey, 2 things. 2 things I really remember about my mom when it came to whiskey. The first thing was, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And boy, oh boy, do I like to use that motto. It's always a good time for a pour. And when it's 5 o'clock somewhere, well, the time was always now. But the other thing I remember about my mom when it came to whiskey was, I seem to remember she always liked a good scotch. And I've got a whole shelf of scotch here. Get down about here, and then I got some Irish, but I got a lot of scotch from here on over. She never talked about peated scotch, even though that's one of my favorites. She just mentioned she wanted to have a scotch. Well, I have one bottle in particular that's a very special bottle to me, and I only crack open for special occasions. And I think when I'm saying thanks to my mom for everything that she's done for myself and for all my siblings and for all of her grandchildren, I need to pull out that special bottle. And this special bottle I got on one of my trips to Munich from my good friend Marcel Siebert from Siebert's Whiskey Welt in Munich. And I went in to do some tasting. This is from the Glen Alecky Distillery, Speyside Single Malt Scotch Whisky. And I'll slaughter this and whiskey or Scotch lovers everywhere, go ahead, give it to me in the comments. I know I'm not going to do this justice, but the Gaelic is Anam h-Alba. And this bottle is has it's special to me for, well, when I was in Marcel's store, he asked me what I was interested in trying, and I told him what I liked. I liked the scotches that had a finish, and I like some wood on my whiskey, and I don't get a lot of that in Scotch. And I wanted something with some age, some nice fruitiness to it. And this is the first bottle that he pulled out. And this bottle was aged for 18 years in first fill sherry butt, no chill filtration. And there were only 675 bottles of this bottling. And if I'm not mistaken, Marcel bought them all. And when I went in there to ask him, when I went in there and I tried this one, it was fantastic. And I told Marcel I needed to have this bottle. So he told me I couldn't have it because this was the last existing bottle that there was. And to make a very long story short, after a very fun night spent with Marcel, he ultimately, and of course I was relentless, he ultimately let me have this bottle to bring home, even though, it was about up to here, I'd say. After Marcel and I tried it, sampled it, and enjoyed it together, he let me bring it home, obviously. And so here it is. I only cracked this one open, like I said, for very special occasions. I've cracked it on the birth of my grandchildren, and now I'm cracking it here for you, Mom, to say thank you to you for everything you do. So let's get ourselves, I think it's only fitting to get ourselves a Scotch glass from Siebert's Whiskey Veld and give ourselves a pour. As I say thank you properly to my mom. First of all, look at the beautiful color on that Scotch. 18 years and it aged the full time in those Oloroso sherry barrels. Oh, nice, beautiful legs on this. Yeah, I think it worked last time when I walked up and I showed you all those legs. I hope you can get that. Just beautiful. And now, let's see what we got. First thing on the nose, absolutely spot on, beautiful, what I asked for from Marcel. There is delicious barrel notes and a very nice sweetness from that sherry. They hit me right away. But I'm going to go in for my usual sips, see how this develops. That sweet sherry and that barrel is so creamy on the palate. and immediately there's a deep caramel enhancing the whole thing. And it's just buttery and caramely and sweet sherry. And this barrel, this oakiness in this one is a very unique, sweet, aged oak flavor in this that, to me, sets the standard for what I look for in oakiness in a barrel. It is not drying the back of my palate at all as it went down. I forgot to double check what the proof was on this one. One 118.4. Took me a while to find it on there. Really small print on the bottom. 118 proof. And you get nothing, no ethanol and nose. You just get that sweet sherry and that wonderful oak barrel. And I am getting a little bit of barrel spice too now after that first step. Let me go on for another one and see how further it develops. Yeah, just viscous and creamy. On the nose, the barrel spice, I'm going to have to say, it's a sweet barrel spice. So more along the lines of a nutmeg, nice and sweet. And that heat, that 118 proof, just the way I like it. For any of those of y'all who have tuned into my videos in the past, know that I love that heat when it just settles on the tip of the tongue. And that's where this is. It is all on the tip of the tongue. I've got no heat in the back of my palate, no heat going down the back of my throat. I just have nice barrel, just a delicious oaky barrel on the back of the palate. Across the mid palate, I've got some of that caramel, deep caramel mixed with the sherry. And then again, as I sit here and it lingers into a finish, I've got that nice heat on the tip of my tongue. And the finish on this one is, I would say, medium, probably a medium finish. It's not lasting incredibly long, but it is nice. It's starts to just heat up mildly on the back of the throat, just a little bit. The heat on the tip of the tongue is still there, and it's all sweet nutmeg and caramel oak across the mid palate on this finish. Again, only a medium finish. Doesn't seem to be lasting incredibly long, although it's still, since my last sip, it's still just lingering. So maybe I should say medium long. The powerful punch of that finish is medium, but it's still, as it settles and calms, it's still lingering. It's still in there. So it's a nice finish. I'm gonna have to change that to medium long, because the medium portion of it is the robustness, the strength of that, of all of that delicious combination of flavors, and then the long bit is as it's just calming down and turning more into barrel and just warming the back of my palate just a little bit with that heat hanging on the tip of the tongue, tip of the palate as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say this is the perfect pour to say, thank you, Mom. Cheers, Mom. Thank you for everything you've done for myself, for all my siblings, for all the grandkids. Thank you for always being a rock and strength and a fortress for me, and an absolutely outstanding role model. So, cheers, Mom. And as you all know, I'd love to have you coming back around. So if you wouldn't mind, please hit that like, subscribe, and that bell. And if you would, give me a share. But most of all, please, take it easy. Don't drink and drive. Cheers.